it said. You know what it says? That when the pastor enters this space, he can talk about anything he chooses that God puts on his heart. And so knowing that, and knowing his fervor for peace and justice issues around the world, we had a discussion about how it is that we should approach this. And we came down on the side of allowing the pastor to speak to those issues, but asking to hold it to quarterly, once every 3 months or so, because we do believe that those issues need to be before the church. And if you want to know what kind of pastor we have, this compromise was part of his suggestion to us, to be sure that we not only followed, or he could follow, the mandates of his own heart about the need to preach about issues across the world as they affect people, but also a recognition of the fact that some of the information may be a little sensitive to members of the congregation. I want you to know that, and I guess I should probably say, with the pastor's permission, that he also was a soldier, combat trained, and his father was a career soldier who fought with the American forces in Vietnam. So he's very well acquainted with the concepts and precepts that are involved in war. So anyway, I personally be looking forward to his first sermon next quarter when he talks about the subject. We've asked him to present a balanced approach that deal both, excuse me, with the causes and effects of those issues of justice that he decides to take on. And I just want to say to Pastor Ken, on behalf of the congregation, that it's very evident from the feedback that we got that you have the support of our congregations. There's some other issues that I'm not going to touch on by name, but I'm just going to say that there are some other issues that are facing the parish, and this church specifically, that the Faith SPRC is working in isolation from the other SPRC. What happens is in the discipline, you're allowed, if you have a parish SPRC, to convene either one of the two if there's a problem that's specific to a given church, that the other church doesn't have to be involved in. So under the authority of that, we convene several times to deal with some issues that are facing this church that are difficult. They are, to some degree, not covered by the discipline, and so we're left, really, with our faith and a little bit of guidance that's given by the discipline and how we approach. But these difficult issues, unfortunately, take time, and we've instigated several temporary kinds of provisions while we undergo looking at how it is and the whole system of how we should treat the problems that we're dealing with. So just know that we're involved in that, and we are doing our best to marshal it through as quickly as we can. However, we've got to do it in a way that reflects our Christian faith and also the guidance given to us by the discipline. And I suppose that's it. Thank you.
All SSRC deserve a collaboration as they work hard for every situation. It's easy for us to cause a trouble and complain once, and SSRC has to work overnight or a few days within the First of all, if you ever feel bad about my sermon against war, I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for the feelings, and I didn't mean it either. My sermon is publicized on the website. Go and click and just let me know what kind of a sentence I need to change it to what. That was the first step I need to work on it, because there was no intention anymore than our discipline support. We are against war. And our discipline and Bible says God is God of peace. And Jesus did not ask us to use the force kind of thing. If you generally agree with this, what other details that hurt your feeling is my fault. So I apologize for your feeling. And If you don't correct me, that's going to happen every quarterly. Or if someone say, you are not an American? Yes, that's true. I'm not an American. You know how hard I have to keep this driver's license. You already know that. Yes, I'm not an American. So your perspective is different. Yes, it must be, because I have not grown up this country. So as communication skills. Sometimes Koreans like kind of direct message, prophetic message. We don't like, I don't have the communication skill as Bob showed to you to turn around all difficult things and say something nice. No, I don't have the skills. I'm a stuttering 35-year-old voice speaker. Your language is a second language. So I need lots of corrections. So please help me and support me to get the perspective right. Today, we are talking about the farming. Jesus used lots of parables about the farming business. It's not like the modern farming with John Deere's or jet planes sowing the whole seeds. It is like a manual farming in old school. You know, the farmer goes to scatter the seed and pour the water to make it grow up. I had an experience of my first gardening in North Sioux City, South Dakota. The church had 12-acre land as the church's lot. It's a lot of land. Most of them were rented to the farmer. But we have some fraction of that land we can use for the garden. So we got the seed, probably seed of cucumber, pumpkins, watermelons, something like that. And I tried to sow this into that church's lot. It was a gumble load. You know how the gumble is like. Dakotas, especially South Dakota's gumble is terrible. And I used this small poking type of things to get the horse. Didn't work. Nothing can break this gumble. So when I was in military service, I used the sharp spade shovel to even break the rocks on the mountain. So I have the soldier spirit bag and bring the big old space shape of a shovel. Using my foot together, I hit the gumble. Didn't work. And I was so disappointed. So I complained to one of our old farmers in the congregation, 67-year-old. But he was a trucker but knows about farming. He brought me a small motorized tiller. You know the small tiller. So I wired it to make it start, and I started to till the gumble land. Didn't work. It just springs like this. I finally gave up to power and just make some stress and put the seed and water and just let it go. You can imagine what I have here. Nothing. After a few days, this 67-year-old farmer, trucker, had put very old toys, which is 1920s tractor. It looks like a kind of skeleton of old metals. It doesn't look like it's operating at all. But he purchased it at $400 from the junkyard and he fixed it. So this one worked very slowly. Tire looks ugly and everybody's all, you know, the colors of it's not shiny metal either, it's dirty metals. And it doesn't have any automatic system. So when it has the big prowler in the back, and when he needed to operate this prowler, this old man needed to pull the string down. It's hard. For a couple times he had to go to chiropractor because of this.